I've coated this piece of plywood with packing tape and pressed it down with a bunch of screws, and then seal that edge with more packing tape, and then the whole thing's going to sit on a black trash bag. So there's step one. I've poured thick and epoxy in there. God, I hope it releases from the tape. Anyway, we'll fiddle with that later. So now, next will be the slurry, and we'll just have to wait until this is. I just don't want the lead to penetrate this layer, so I'm going to let this layer sit as long as possible. So there's the 2 containers of lead shot, and I'm going to mix about 250 mils of epoxy into it, although I'm going to make more. At this point, I just have to waste epoxy, unfortunately. Stuff's expensive, but I can't, if I screw this up, it's a problem. So it's been almost 2 hours, and you can see where I touched it. It is not yet set in this thin layer, but the pot, the leftover stuff, has already set up because it's in the pot and it heats up, and it's a little cool in the garage, so it's going to take a little while longer. I definitely don't want the lead penetrating into this, so I'm going to let it cure a little while longer, probably another hour or so. So it's a late night tonight. Oh well. Anyway, let's set 20 to 30 minutes. Yeah, there was nowhere near enough time. Okay, we'll be back. There it is. It's nice and dry. It's a lot heavier. It's gonna take that off and then weigh the thing. So there's the other side. I'm very happy. The screws popped right out of this, and I put tape on this side, which sat down. It looks like some of the lead may have seeped down through the epoxy in a couple corners. So I'm hoping that the spacing is still okay. It's much heavier, but I don't know if it's 20 pounds heavier. So I'm going to weigh it now. We'll see what we got. Oh, so when I mixed this stuff up yesterday, I had 2 containers of lead shot that were filled to about 600 mils, somewhere around there. I've got around 300 left in this container. This guy weighs 26 pounds. It weighed 11. It went up 15 times 0.04. So it went up like 16 pounds. So it might be enough. But I may, I'm debating cutting a hole here and putting some more epoxy, lead encased epoxy up right here. I got to think about that right now. I don't have time at the moment. But it's definitely significantly heavier. It's not 18 pounds heavier. It's close. Yeah, it would have been, I could have overfilled it. I wasn't planning on shrinkage. I think part of the problem is I used thickened epoxy with the shot, so it took up more volume than I expected it would. and but it's real solid. You can actually see one of the brass bars in there. I mean, with the brass cross pieces, this ain't going anywhere. This is solid as a rock. It's just not heavy enough. So I have to decide if I want to put some additional weight up there. I might put another 2-pound blob in there. So I punched a hole, 2 holes, with this hole saw and drill. I started from the opposite side and finished on this side. Just started with a pilot hole at in the center of each one, smaller than this guy. And then this is a 2 and 9/16. I needed a little more than 2.5. I didn't want to go to 2 3/4 or 3. Anyway, so and then I put that piece of board with piece of plywood with tape on it as a backing, screwed that in place. And then, since I don't have a 45-degree cut on this, I want to have something physical support just besides epoxy on this. I put in 4 Phosphor-Bronze screws, and they're all below the surface, and that should act as a physical attachment in addition to the epoxy, so they shouldn't. I don't expect that they will come out. I will probably wet the surface of these 2 holes before I put because the way it's going to work, I'm going to pour some thickened epoxy in the bottom, just a little thin layer, let that set, and then I will I'll brush on a little unthickened epoxy, and then mix the lead with pour the lead into the unthickened epoxy. Well, I may just do the same thing as I did last time, use thickened epoxy, and leave a little bit of a surface. I'll leave a little less than I did last time because of shrinkage, although that'll probably mess me up anyway. But this is the side that had the plywood against it, so the epoxy is flush here, and on the other side there was some shrinkage, so it shrunk away a little bit. So I'm doing it on the other side to offset any balance issues. I really don't think it's going to be too severe, but just in case, I'll put in I put the smooth edge on the other side, and I'm going to make the layer thinner, I think, than I did this time. Although this is not very thick, given that it punched through in several places. So hopefully, I'm trying to add about 2 to 3 pounds. You know, all the calculations in the world don't mean anything until you actually do it. It's just an estimate. It's like calibration. You're doing a piece part calibration for an instrument, and then you get an estimate, and then you do an end-to-end test. This is why what we learned from the Hubble Space Telescope, always do an end-to-end calibration. Anyway, so now we're going to mix epoxy and start gluing this stuff up. If I think to, I will take a picture of what the shot and the mixed in the epoxy looks like, and just show the consistency of that. So here's the consistency of this stuff when it's mixed with thickened epoxy. Here's the thickened epoxy, and that's so there it is. It's not really as much as I had hoped in terms of weight. But and there's some leftover stuff that I poured into a plastic mold to try to get a shape of something that I might go ahead and put something else in there if I need some more. But I think for right now, this is going to be, we're going to call this declare victory and move on. So I just finished this and we'll see how it looks in the morning. So here we are back again, nice and glued up. I'll get the other side. I have to flip this over and take this off. You'll pause for a second. So take that off and see what we got. Spinning. All right, well, I have to fiddle with this one. Anyway, let's see if I can get the taking off. Well, unfortunately, I can't film this going down. I'll just have to tell you what the answer is. So let me do math through the lens here. So it's 28.5 minus, that's what it just weighed, minus 11 is, what is that, 17.5 times 1.046, which is the calibration factor, and that is, like I said, that was 18.3. And I wanted 18.4. So, good enough. So there we go. So those little guys and those big guys added 18.3 pounds of lead shot plus other stuff to get the thing right. Because I think what happened is I underestimated what was the volume of the epoxy that's going to go around the lead. But who knows? It doesn't matter. This was the first shot, these two blocks, and now I got these two guys. Now I'm at 18 pounds. I didn't have to melt lead on the stove and divorce my wife. So, or her divorced me.